Shalom, I'm Rabbi Stephen Sachs. As a kid, I loved reading a series of books called Choose Your Own Adventure. Let me give you an example of why these books were called Choose Your Own Adventure. You'd have a narrative starting out from pages 1 to 10 in which Captain Jack was fleeing the pirates. You could choose one ending on pages 10 to 20 in which he stopped, turned around, and fought the pirates. Or you could jump ahead to pages 20 through 30 and read an alternate ending in which he marooned his ship on an island and encountered the mystical natives. Well, today I'm Captain Sachs, and each and every one of you are a captain as well. Today we get to choose our own adventure. Today begins the Atzeret Yemei Teshuvah, the 10 days of repentance between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The Talmud tells us that on Rosh Hashanah our fate for the following year is decreed, but that fate is not sealed until Yom Kippur. Now, we simply can accept the fate which has been declared and do nothing. Or we could try to improve our fate for the following year by doing teshuvah, by repenting. In fact, the Rambam teaches us that we could improve our fate simply by performing one mitzvah. We could tip the scales of judgment in our favor by performing one mitzvah. So I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to decide to take on one new mitzvah before Yom Kippur in hopes of tipping the scales of judgment in your favor. Now, you all know which mitzvah you need to work on, but let me suggest one anyway, and that's having a regular Friday night dinner. Now notice, I didn't say a Shabbat dinner, just a Friday night dinner. Don't need to read Hebrew, don't need a prayer book, just sit down with your family and enjoy. In fact, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach has a program entitled Turning Friday Night into Family Night. And it's not only popular in the Jewish world, but it's become popular in the non-Jewish world as well. And it's easy to see why. During the week we're so busy running around, working hard, taking our kids from soccer practice to piano lessons, that we often hardly have time to enjoy the company of those who we love the most. When Friday night comes, I want you to slow down. Sit around the table with your family. Don't answer the phone. Don't worry about the emails. Just enjoy each other's company. I was recently speaking to a congregant who has a regular Friday night dinner, and he told me what he likes most about his Friday night dinner is it gives him guaranteed time each and every week to have quality conversations with his children. Now, some of you especially as teenagers, are probably saying to yourself, I would love to have quality conversations with my teenagers, but they're so hard to engage in quality conversation. Well, you're not alone. If you go to Rabbi Boteach's website, there are different questions you could ask your kids, and they have different questions for different ages. Here are 2 questions focused on young teenagers, a group particularly difficult to engage in meaningful conversation. Tell me the 5 best things about you. Probably get a good conversation started between you and your teenager. Or how about this one? How would you describe yourself to somebody else? It's not only a good question to ask your teenager, let your teenager ask you that question. Another thing you could do is have your kids cook the meal. Now, some of you are probably saying to yourselves, my kids cook? Give me a break, come on, they don't know how to cook. Well, in fact, someone wrote into Rabbi Boteach's website, I mostly buy prepared foods for dinner. My kids are not cooks, but I'd like to get them involved in preparing meals. What can I do to have them feel useful? Here's what Miriam Weinstein, author of The Surprising Power of Family Meals, has to say. She says, it's not about cooking. No. The goal is to get your kids involved in the meal preparation. You want them to feel that they're a part of this family team. She said, it helps if you think through the different parts of your family's meal routine, then consider which pieces may be appropriate for your kids. Setting the table is always a good start. For a toddler, this might mean carrying 1 cup at a time. For an older child, counting out silverware can be a really useful thing. Kids can microwave, unwrap packages, and follow simple directions. Afterwards, they could separate the packaging for recycling. So what do we have here? We have a family mitzvah project. If you remember, our original goal was simply to come up with one mitzvah to tip the scales of judgment in our favor. But now look at all the benefits we have. Quality time with the family. Good discussions, meaningful discussions with our kids. And we're teaching our kids kibbud av v'em, the mitzvah of respecting their parents. Just goes to show that our sages knew what they were talking about when they said mitzvah goreret mitzvah goreret mitzvah, that the performance of one mitzvah leads to another and to another. Now, some of you may be saying to yourselves, I would love to have time to sit down on Friday nights with my family and have a dinner. But right now my schedule just does not permit that. So let me suggest one more mitzvah. And that mitzvah is derech eretz, treating other people with respect. In fact, the Rambam teaches us that you could improve the world simply by the performance of one mitzvah. Now you're saying to yourselves, Rabbi, come on, are you really telling me I can make the world a better place simply by treating people with derech eretz, simply by treating people with common courtesy? Yes, I am. Let me share a story with you about the late Senator Scoop Jackson from the state of Washington. He was asked once why he had championed the issue of Soviet Jewry. After all, there are very few Jews in the state of Washington. There wasn't much of a political reason for him to champion this issue. He said as a kid, he worked in a store owned by a Jewish man. This Jewish man took a tremendous amount of abuse from his non-Jewish neighbors. Jackson feared that the man would take it out on him. He was the teenager in the store, the easy target. But yet, this Jewish man always treated Jackson with the utmost respect and courtesy. Jackson decided, because of this man, he would make it one of his life's missions to ease the suffering of Jews in any way possible that he could. And because of this man, Jackson championed the issue of Soviet Jewry in the Senate. If you had told this Jewish man that because of his actions he would have made the world a better place, he would have said, "You're nuts! All I did was treat some kid with derech eretz." But look what derech eretz leads to. It led to a non-Jewish man championing the issue of Soviet Jewry in the U.S. Senate. As I look out, I see unfinished stories. Tomorrow we're going to dive in for a happy ending to our story. Avinu Malkeinu Katvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Our Father, our King, inscribe us in the book of good life. Let us start now and do all we can to ensure that we are inscribed at Sefer Chaim Tovim, in the book of good life.